Welcome. This is Suzanne.
Lauri.
Susan.
Roxie.
And we are
Three Old Broads and a Lady.
10,000 people per day turn 65 in the United States of America. 20% of our population will be over the age of 65 by 2050. There are also 9,852 births per day, but only 8,470 deaths per day. So that means that our population is aging. But are we being appreciated for our age? That's the question.
I think that sometimes we don't even appreciate our age ourselves. I wanted to start it off by sharing a little cartoon that somebody shared with me the other day. It's a picture of a woman standing in a store throttling this young man who's wearing an apron, some kind of clerk or something like that. And it says, Sheila reacts badly to the first offer for a senior discount. And I thought, that's true. That's what we do. The very first time that you ever got offered a senior discount or somebody called you ma'am, I remember just being struck to the core by that. That was like such a horrible thing. And so I don't think we really respect ourselves enough to say, yeah, I'm still viable and have things to offer. So I don't know. Is it our fault that we are not better appreciated, or is it just all those punk kids out there?
I would have to say that it's not particularly our fault. I think that's a natural reaction to a lot of people based on the American culture, based on how we really don't respect our elderly. We haven't. And I've probably been just as much of a jerk when I was in the 20s as the way that I've been treated. So I got very upset when the guy at IHOP wanted to give me a senior discount when I was 42. So, and I didn't even have gray hair. So
I think we are naturally, well, not naturally, actually. We've been shoehorned into a way of thinking about ourselves because of what we see, the advertising that, they never had an advertisement for anything that didn't, that had old people cavorting around on a beach. I mean, it was always, nubile bikini babes and stuff. So, this is the way we want to be. But when you get over a certain age, there's no way you're going to, be that. And so we're marginalized by what everybody sees on TV, on social media, whatever.
Yeah, more than that, the commercials that you do see for older people, they're always playing pickleball or dancing to some old music. And it's always an ad for some sort of medication of some kind,
right?
Or some cream or something. And it makes you feel like, is this all that there is left? I don't know. Even though they seem to be having fun, it seems a bit forced.
To add to that, you're right. That's, it's like, well, take this, ask your doctor. And then they have all that stuff at the bottom that says, and by the way, all of these terrible things can happen to you. And I remember seeing too, it's like, well, look at Dad. He's dancing. And and it almost is like, ha, 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 look, he's dancing. So we're constantly being put into a box of, oh, isn't that sweet? Or isn't that quaint? Or look at this old buffoon. And I think that's a big problem because you automatically think that way. We do, because oh no, I don't want to be a senior citizen.
Well, senior has a bad connotation. And actually, we don't say old. We say senior or elderly. There is a bad connotation there. My question is, where the heck did that come from? Right? I mean, if you look at other cultures, the elderly are they're wise. They're not revered, but they're respected. And they're not in the United States. So where did that originate? Would be my question.
Well, how do we take it back? How do we become the powerful people that we really are? I mean, I know that I don't feel old. And by looking at me or by counting the years that I've been on this planet, I am old. But to myself, I'm like just beginning. And so I'm just wondering, like, how can we take that back and become more, advocate for ourselves more than we do?
The Gray Panthers. Does anybody remember the Gray Panthers?
Ah, yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Only old people do.
Yes.
Well, we were young then when they were active. And I remember she was the woman who actually got started with this. She was complaining. They were all complaining at their bridge club about the very same thing. Not that we're complaining. We're just pointing out some things. Well, maybe we are.
We're complaining.
We are complaining. And at that time, the elderly were beginning to, kind of become a voting bloc. And there was something going on about Social Security that I wasn't paying too much attention to because that was like way in the future. So she and her friends at the bridge table, they decided to get something going, something local maybe, that they wanted something for seniors and like senior centers that we never had before. So she started this thing. She lived around here too. She lived in Southern California. And she used to show up on the news and on the Tonight Show, which was nationwide. So then she went to Washington with some of her cronies, and it began to become a thing, and people were, joining up and all this. And as anything does, it begins to wane. They got what they wanted, or they
Died.
They passed away. Yeah, exactly. And so that kind of, disappeared. But, I wouldn't necessarily think that we needed to call ourselves Gray Panthers, because that was because of the Black Panthers and all that. But we, a senior group that could, advocate for ourselves would be kind of cool, kind of neat. But social media, that would be a good way to be able to advertise. I mean, these bridge players, how did they get started?
True, they had a lot more difficulty in, printing out
Getting
flyers
out
and handing
there,
them out.
Handbills.
Yeah, than social media now. I kind of think, though, that the problem with that sort of thing is that if you're all old and you're all Gray Panthers, the little Panthers don't care. Like you said, little Panthers are out doing something else. I think the best way to stay involved is to do stuff that does not require any kind of age limit, and that you can still do with some ability, that you still have something to contribute to that includes lots of different age people, because that's how they will come to realize that you still have a contribution, to make, that you're still viable. But I don't know. I just always feel silly about, going someplace and having somebody say, well, here, take my seat. It's very sweet and it's very chivalrous, and don't offer me your seat. Yeah.
It's supposed to be showing you a sign of respect, but it's also showing you a sign that they think that you're not as strong or vital as they are.
Right. Well, which is probably true, actually, but,
And sometimes they just want you to get lost.
Or they don't see you at all.
That's true.
Yep, you definitely become invisible.
Yes.
On the death rate is going down and the birth rate is going up, just as I said before. But the life expectancy is getting higher and higher all the time. There's 90,000 people in the United States that are over 100 years old now.
My mom will be 100 in June.
There you go. And also, if you were born today, you would expect to live 77 and a half years. That would be the average. But if you were 65 today, you would be expected to live to be 83.9 years. So it's getting older and older and older. What is old age now? I mean, has the bar been lifted? Like, do we still consider old age the same as we did back in the 60s when we were young? What did we think was old then?
We don't. I mean, we were talking earlier about our teachers and how I thought they were probably about 100, but I suppose they were in their 50s.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm sorry. When I was in high school, 30 was old.
Yeah, well,
Well, don't trust anybody over 30.
That was our era in the streets.
yeah.
But now, is it older? Has it? I mean, retirement age has started to go up, and people who voluntarily retire are definitely staying on longer and longer, and still contributing to society even more. But does society in general think of ourselves as being old when we're 50 or when we're 60 or when?
I think it's changing. I think that we look better. We have better posture. You don't look decrepit.
Well, what did they said that 60 is the new 40 or something like that, which may have been a little bit wishful, but still, the attitude.
I'd like that to be true.
Yeah, me too.
I question who's saying that, though, because I don't think I'm hearing that from people that are in their 20s.
No, absolutely not. No.
So how do we make ourselves appear younger so that we can be accepted by the whole population and not just by ourselves? I mean, for instance, do we dye our hair or don't we dye our hair? To dye or not to dye?
I dye.
I dye too.
I'm too lazy. I quit dyeing.
I wanted to see if my hair color was the same as my grandmother's hair color, which was beautiful. So, but it hasn't gotten completely gray yet, so I don't know.
But is there an advantage? Does it make you look younger? I've read that it makes you look 10 years younger. And is that an advantage?
I think it does. Actually, I think it does make you look younger because when I was dyeing my hair brown, when I stopped dyeing it, people didn't come up to me and go, "Oh, really? You're that old?" Now they're like, "Oh, yeah, I see it."
Now, I have my son the other day said, "Mom, don't you think it's time for you to go gray? Like your beautiful cousin, Lake, who has always been gray, and she looks so beautiful that way. Don't you think you should do that too?" But my daughter says, "No, you've got to keep dyeing your hair. It makes you look youthful." So then what do? How do I decide?
Dye your hair. I think about that too, because I am very gray and grayer than you. Okay. And probably grayer than you. But I'm on that, well, should I just go gray? And I went, no, because I'll look a lot older. So, okay.
But what's wrong with looking older?
Yeah, there you go. That's the conundrum we have.
Do you embrace it? Or do you try to pretend that it didn't happen?
Well, I used to think I could cover up how old I was by covering my hair, but now a neck thing going on. It's just like, which is why I'm wearing scarves, so
Embrace it.
I don't know. Embrace it. Embrace your neck. Yeah, I know. Well, but you see, when I was dyeing my hair, I got to a point where the color I was using, I was sort of a brownish, reddish, kind of kicky young thing. It started turning sort of pink because my hair was so white underneath. And finally I looked at it one day and I thought, I do not want to be the woman with pink hair. And so I quit.
When my grandmother was dyeing her hair well into her late 80s, possibly even her 90s. And my mother gathered us all one time and said, now I'm going to make Grandma not dye her hair. And I want everybody to tell her how great she looks. Don't tell her it's because she dyed her hair or didn't dye her hair. Just start commenting about how wonderful she looks so that she won't dye her hair anymore. I didn't understand why that was even an important issue for my mother, but but then my mother was the one who, when I was in high school, said, "Don't you think you should dye your hair, darling? It's such a mousy color." So and I did, and I've been dyeing it ever since. So it's not like I dyed it to cover up the gray. I've been dyeing it to cover up the mousy brown all these years.
Well, you can kind of rock gray hair.
Oh, yeah. Roxie rocks it for sure.
Yeah.
Look at that hair.
Yeah. Well, for a while there, it was a very big thing. All the 20-somethings were dyeing their hair gray. And I was appalled myself. I was like, oh, what are you doing?
Why are you doing this so soon?
Yeah. But I don't know. For a while, it was a big thing. And I thought, oh. But, yeah.
Well, have you seen Elon Musk's mother?
She was a model. She was
Mrs.
fabulous.
Musk, I mean, she's, oh my God, you look fantastic. And it's gray, so Of course I couldn't hope to do anything about that. I bet her neck looks good too. So
It probably does. Darn her.
on the internet, like there's everything. I saw Leah Thompson from Back to the Future, and they say, "Oh, you look great." And she says, "Thank you." And well, how do you look so young? And it was some kind of. They asked how old she was. "Oh, I'm 63," she said. And you go, "Oh, it stabbed me in the heart." Anyway, but she had some kind of neck thing that you're supposed to do. Oh, this hack every morning or some kind of thing. Oh, okay. But we're all trying it. And people think you're young. They're going to treat you like you're younger. But you're right. We have to change that. I don't know. I just think that it's a decision that you have to make. But I'm going to keep dyeing it until it just gets impossible.
It's another problem with being older is starting to live on a fixed income. I don't know if anybody else has had that problem. I didn't have it until just recently when things have started getting more and more expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And now I've started worrying a little bit about being able to, survive on the amount of money that I thought was going to be very comfortable.
Well, when I retired, the same thing. I did all the numbers. I did all the stuff. I retired in 2019. 2019. 18 to 19. Because teaching. Okay. So I thought I had it made. I sold my house and I got a big chunk of money because I owned my house, so I didn't have to pay off a mortgage. And I thought, well, I'm in great shape. And then, not so great. So yeah, that has occurred to me too. Fixed incomes. I don't want to go back to work.
Who would have us? First we'd have to convince them that we were young enough to get a job that we could hold for a while.
Well, dye your hair.
Yeah, dye my hair and wear a scarf.
Do the neck thing, yeah.
Wear a scarf. Fixed income is a challenge. I know I was thinking I was going to be able to just travel and do fun stuff. And now I've got something sitting on my counter and I'm looking at it and going, I don't know. Do I want to put down money on something like this? I might need that to buy overpriced groceries sometime soon.
I went to the grocery store today and what I bought, I bought chicken breasts for $2.99 a pound. Like 3 days ago. Mm-hmm. And today they were $4.99 a pound.
Ah, you missed the sale.
No, it said sale $4.99 a pound.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Well, the other thing, too, is if you're still lucky enough to have an aging parent like I do, it's that this rise in prices is affecting me. And I shouldn't be. Because I got a really good retirement from the college, but taking care of my mom and helping her out, like she had to have electrical wiring done. That was $6,000 that she doesn't have. I mean, she's on a real fixed income. So,
talk about fixed.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, traveling out of California, you can see where the prices start to drop. So why are we? Well, it just seems like we're just constantly, everything is going up, 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 and it's going up all across the United States. But in California, it's going up even worse. I mean, this might get into a political thing, so maybe we shouldn't talk about it.
No, I think, well, it's things have always been higher in California. Gas has always been higher.
Well, that's because we get most of it from Texas, and they hate us.
Well,
so.
I don't know what that's about, but I think, you can live a lot more cheaply in like the Midwest and places like that. But then you have all these other things to contend with that we don't have out here. Before these nasty fires we had, I mean, we don't have tornadoes, we don't have hail and sleet and blizzarding conditions. We're not locked in our houses for 8 months of the year like they are in Minnesota and stuff like that.
Or Idaho Falls,
Frostbite Falls. So you think that it's going to balance out a little bit because we don't have to worry about those kind of expenses like heating all winter and air conditioning all summer like they do in Arizona. But I don't know. It's just
my electric bill has gone up to almost $300. So, and I don't have a heater. So I don't know. I see the utility bills going up as well. So it's.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I have too. I guess that's the way it is. Huh?
So then we have to get jobs. We have to work, become part of the workforce again.
Again, we have to work again.
And like you said, like ageism is protected by law, but in practice, I don't think it's true.
Well, you can't prove it.
No.
Yeah, and especially if you're looking for a job, they don't even check your references or anything. If they see your age and they think, oh, well, no, well.
They look at your neck.
That's your roots. Well, that's the problem is that they can't ask you your age anymore. That's against the law.
No.
But they can call you in for an interview.
Yeah.
And as soon as they see your face.
Or they can just look at your resume and see that, you've been working since 1967, so it's like, yeah, no, she's been around a long time,
I just don't want to have to get a job where my name is over my pocket. So that's
be a greeter
and an advisor. I no offense to anybody who's doing that.
Yeah, no,
but I don't want to.
No.
I will tell you that the stadiums, the baseball stadiums, hire seniors, and they pay good. And it's part-time work, but it's like I was looking at the Angel Stadium to.
You've been looking into it.
Yeah, I have to see what the ushers make, and it's like $35,000, which is nothing to sneeze at for part-time work.
Yeah, but then they start taking it out of the Social Security you're getting at the other end.
It depends on how much. Mm-hmm. It depends on how much you make.
Well, yeah, it depends on a lot.
Ushering would be a part-time job anyway, I think.
Yeah, it is. Exercise too. You go up and down the stairs. Well, so if what do? We develop our own industry of some sort, or something like that, or how do we
work from home? Nobody will see you.
Well, that's true. We just be hired by somebody to work from home.
Yeah, like those TikTok people.
Yeah.
They said, yeah, I was doing this in my garage, and then I went to TikTok, and now I had to, get a warehouse. I think, but
yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of anything that I could make that would get me that kind of dough. So
maybe you could just dance, do little TikTok things, and people would. I don't know.
It's a conundrum.
Well, would anybody like to sum up our thoughts about aging and what we've been seeing? I agree that out in the world, you get a lot of static from younger people about being old, being in the way. I had a skateboarder tell me I was old and I should go home. I didn't have that much time left anyway. He was stupid, but that's beside the point. And and we've all had that experience. But how do you fight that other than just telling him where to get off in no uncertain terms, which you don't want to do because he might have a gun. I don't know. It's like you don't want to be belligerent.
It's difficult because you don't want to be on the same level where they are. You want to be on a better level, which is never the case with me. I just recently returned from Iceland. We were at Seljalandsfoss waterfall, and I was trying to take a picture of the waterfall, and I was standing in the stream, and there were these 20 and 30-year-old guys that kept jumping on the rocks in front of me as I was trying to take the picture. So I kept waiting for them to get off. And then after I finally got the picture taken, one of them says, "Old people." And I turned around and I looked at him and I said, and I don't know what our rating is here, but I told him, "Fuck you, asshole," which I think it surprised him. And then I told him, someday you're going to be where I am, and some young moron is going to say the same thing to you. Think about that. And I walked away. But afterwards I'll think, you should have just walked away. Mm-hmm. You should have just walked away and let them be stupid.
Yeah, but that's adding to the invisibility.
Yeah.
You just disappeared. It's like, I heard this the other day at the Oscars. They had the in memoriam thing, and other people that had passed away over the years. Over the year, how many people passed on. And some people were upset because some very important people had passed that were not in the list, or they weren't shown. And this guy on the internet, my sister follows, she's copied over to me because it was a Hollywood thing. So that's my area. And what happened was this fellow was complaining. He's a British guy. And he was complaining that Mitzi Gaynor, who died this past year, was not mentioned at the Oscars. So he's a reporter himself. So he has ways of reaching these things. So he called the Academy the next day and said, why wasn't Mitzi Gaynor on this? And he had other names too, but why wasn't she on there? I mean, South Pacific and all the things that she'd done. And they said to him, well, we want to get more Gen Z people watching our show. So nobody in Gen Z probably would know her. So talk about being invisible, right?
Yeah.
And that just stunned me. Stunned him too. He was actually annoyed, and because he doesn't look too young either, the guy on the internet. But it's a generational thing. I guess they're the ones that everyone wants to cater to now. Like when we were baby boomers, when we were still babies, or young people, they catered to us. And now they don't, because it's like they got Gen Z
moved on now
to come on. And, they're the ones that are going to be buying the stuff and
right.
doing the things. So
that's not necessarily true, because as we know, the population is aging every year a little bit more. And so they should be looking to us as being the people that they want to focus on.
Well, truly, we've got more buying power than Gen Z does.
Yeah, but we're on fixed incomes.
We've still got more buying power. There's more of us. And Gen Z is not, they're still living in their parents' basements and stuff. So come on. Well, maybe not. Maybe not all of them. I'm sure there are some very productive Gen Zs out there. I just don't know.
Because we're going to cater to the Gen Z people to listen to our podcast.
That's right. Oh, shucks. I guess we blew that.
One thing that I always think about when I get annoyed, when I'm standing in the line at the supermarket and somebody in front of me who must be older than I am, is moving very slowly or getting a little confused, or maybe they have, mobility issues or something like that. And then I have to remind myself how courageous those people are. How courageous it is sometimes just to get up and go out somewhere and make yourself do it. And then I think, then my mind changes and I have respect for that person who maybe is struggling, but they're there and they came and they're not letting it defeat them.
Yeah, that would be my mom.
Yeah,
My mom went to Iceland with me. She's 99. And going through the airport, almost everybody was good with her except for we went through Newark. And in Newark, the TSA agent yelled at my mom. She's telling her, come through the thing. My mom can't hear her. She's 99 years old. She starts yelling at her. And I turned around. I said, oh, no, you did not just yell at my mother. I said, she's 99 and she can't hear. And she said, well, she needs to come through. And I said, well, you don't need to yell at people because you guys are disorganized, because that is the most disorganized airport I have ever been in. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for people, same as you, they're out there, they're trying to do stuff, and I'm not just going to go off to the side.
Yeah.
So, well, we're here and we're in America and we have to deal with this age thing. That's what we have to do, and we have to think about it. And what'll I do? And you're right.
It's time to change the culture.
Yeah, you're right. You get out there and do it.
In Japan, people are thought of with respect when they're older.
And of course we have to.
It's a matter of culture change,
and we have to respect them too. So I'm older than you, so I deserve your respect, but I don't have to give you any. That is a problem too. So because they know what they know, and we know what we know, and they don't always mesh
at all.
Like poor Mitzi Gaynor.
Yeah,
she was out there, but I wish it was different. Okay, movie reference. Sorry guys, but Seven Samurai. You ever seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, and if you haven't seen the Seven Samurai, you've seen the Magnificent Seven.
Yes. One of my favorite movies.
What do the guys do in the village before they go to town to hire the gunslingers? What do?
They get scared and hide away.
Old man. So they go up to the oldest guy that lives there. What do we do? And then he gives them the advice. And I remember that Seven Samurai was made by Akira Kurosawa. And so that's part of the Japanese culture, is to go to the person, the old guy, go to the old man and ask him what to do. And nobody's asking us anything these days. They're telling us what to do. But
they're telling us to get out of the way.
In many ways. And you just you could say, well, I wish that wasn't true, but I guess we could all kind of look inward, because that's what they do. In that culture, it's very Buddhist, right? I mean, that's a general statement, but you're okay with yourself, and you what is that, to stay within yourself or whatever, and you think about what you can do. Well, what am I going to do to fix this? And so don't walk around with a chip on your shoulder. Just start with yourself and be you. And if you're 73 or 54 or 99 or whatever your age is, just be you and take it from there. I know that sounds too easy, but it actually is. Want to keep that in mind and go up to any human and just treat them as another human being, rather than somebody who's older than you or younger than you or being stupid. I think you're stupid.
Why did you point at me when you said that?
Well, okay. No, I remember in Mad Magazine where they had this one guy. He was a really good artist, and he also would write what they're really saying or what they're really thinking.
Yeah.
And they had the two bubbles, and one was what they were actually saying, and then they had the thought balloon up above what he was really thinking. And we do that all the time. And I always think of that magazine, because you're just like, yeah, that's what they're really thinking. And so think about what you're thinking, and make sure that if you're thinking something that you shouldn't say or whatever, put that stopper in there. and just treat everybody like humans instead of anything else. We're all in the same boat. And I think that would be the best way to start anyway. If you need some help and somebody helps you, that's great. And if you see somebody that needs some help, you help them. I think that would be a good way to go. And if the villagers come to you and say, what do we do? Then you say, fight and hire gunslingers.
Well, wait a minute now. Give it some thought.
Yeah, what are you really thinking?
What are you really thinking? Yeah. Okay, so we're out of time for today, but check in with us again because
we are 3 old broads and a lady.